Welcome back to another episode of Greetings from the Garden State. I'm Mike Ham. We are here in Morristown, New Jersey with my good friend Allie Como of Alexandria Como Design. Allie, welcome to the show.
Thank you.
It's good to have you here. Are you excited for your first ever podcast experience, right?
Super excited.
Super excited.
A little nervous, though.
Well, it's just like we talk, and now it's just we're talking with mics on and we're going to record everything you said, like I said before. But yeah, no, I'm very excited to have you on. We haven't done this type of episode before, so you are our inaugural episode in this field, and we're going to get to what that is in a little bit.
I'm honored.
But let's talk about you for a little bit. So what do you do? And let's get like a little bit of like the early background days of Allie Como.
Sure. So I'm an interior designer.
Okay.
I was always into art design growing up. I went to school for design, New York School of Interior Design on the Upper East Side. I worked for 2 firms out of college, and then I went out on my own 8 years ago.
Okay. Mm-hmm. All right. Was like design, all that kind of stuff, that was always something that you were interested in, right?
Yeah, I mean, but like you go to college and you don't know if it's going to work out.
Sure.
And it did.
Yeah.
So that's good.
Well, that's cool.
Yeah, it's great.
Like, were you like into that kind of stuff? Like, even like growing up. Like what made you make the decision to actually go to design school?
I was always into art growing up.
Okay.
Took like every art class school offered. Yeah, always loved it, even as a little kid.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then like the New York School of Design, right? Mm-hmm. That's like kind of like, I would imagine, a lot of different types of designs, right? Is it just interior design?
It's just interior design.
Okay. Right.
But it's art school, so it's not a typical college experience.
Got it.
I mean, it's there's no sports.
Right. Well.
Yeah.
You guys are busy designing stuff.
That's right.
Yeah. There's a lot going on. Okay. So then, like, so you work for 2 different firms coming out of college, and then at like what point do you decide to kind of go out on your own? What was what went into that decision to go out on your own? All that kind of stuff.
I mean, I think it's probably similar to most people who start their own business, but a combination of wanting, more control over the design and. You also get to a point where you see how much money you're making for your bosses.
Yeah. And
you're like, I'm actually doing all the work. So yeah. Cool. Yeah. I'm going to do this. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I always knew I wanted to go out on my own. And then I had the perfect storm situation that pushed me to take the jump.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. The perfect storm being anything that could be shared on this episode, or like...
Yeah, why not?
Yeah, sure. Nobody listens to this show anyway.
Full disclosure. So I had these 3 really big jobs that were all referrals to me. And it was kind of like, okay, if I totally fail, I'll be good for a bit. So... it was like Office Space. I went into my boss's office and I quit. Of course, I'm crying. I'm like, I'm sorry, I'm leaving. Yeah. Anyway, and I quit and I left that day. Just like, yeah. Right. And then you get home and you're like, oh my God, what did I just do?
What just happened? Just like blacked out,
Yeah.
No, but that's awesome. And I think that that's really cool because obviously a lot of the people that we have on the show are small business owners or, like they run nonprofits in certain capacities. And some of them have done exactly that. Maybe not like, boom, I'm out. But they've done something else. It wasn't clicking for them and they wanted to do something that kind of, for them almost. Yeah. So I think that's really cool. And it gives you more control over what you're doing, which is awesome. So let's talk about like maybe with your interior design business, the types of, clients that you're generally working with. So
I do mostly high-end residential. Okay. That being said, different, everything from a whole house to a room. When I went out on my own, it was really mainly to focus on kitchen design. Okay. But it's everything at this point.
Yeah. Yeah. Are there certain things that you enjoy doing more? Like, if you're doing a lot of residential, like if it's kitchens or whatever, is that like your thing? You're like, I love doing kitchens.
I do. I love kitchens because they're kind of more technical and, everyone with good taste can't do a kitchen.
Sure. Yeah.
So yeah, I love the kitchens, but it's nice to also do the fluffy stuff, the pillows, the decorating, wallpaper. It's a good mix. Yeah.
Yeah. And then do you do any like commercial projects also?
I have done some restaurants. I have a law office in Texas right now. So
cool.
Yeah. Done some stuff like that.
So your business is like all over the place.
Yeah, I mean, it's mostly New Jersey, New York, but
Yeah.
I've had jobs in Maine, Florida.
Cool.
Yeah.
And then, like, I guess a lot of those come from referrals as well, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Usually it's either a second home from someone based out of here or, yeah.
Yeah, awesome. And then so I know on my other show I had another interior designer, and like one of the things that I asked her, and I'm just curious, and we kind of talked about this before, so I do already know the answer, full disclosure. But so is there like, when you're working with an interior designer, is it like important to find one that maybe like your visions match up? Like, do you have like a particular like aesthetic that you like to bring to people? Are some people like, I don't care what you do, just make it look better? Do people come to you with like a plan of like what they want to do, and you need to like fulfill that vision?
Yeah, it's all kinds. I feel like some people really are particular and know what they like, and that makes my job kind of easy. And then, the hope is that you can kind of push them, and maybe it can be a little bit more exciting or bigger than what they had kind of already thought of for themselves. But I don't know. I think other people have a really hard time explaining what they like. And so, you can kind of tell, like, your first meeting with someone, how they dress, what they're about.
Yeah.
Usually people are wearing their favorite colors when you first meet them.
Interesting. Mm-hmm. That's a good fact.
It is a good
human
fact.
interest thing.
It is, yeah.
Like a
little psychology.
sociological experiment.
Yeah.
Did I say that right? I speak for a living.
We're not judging you.
Nah, it's fine.
Yeah, so that's, but like, if everyone was good at it, I wouldn't have a job.
Yeah, sure, exactly.
So, yeah, but I try, and it's not about me. It's not about my aesthetic. It's about kind of translating the client's vision and helping kind of make that a reality. But I'm not a one-trick pony with my designs.
Yeah, sure. You can't be, because then it's like,
no.
Like, you just do the same thing every time? Like, I would go crazy.
And I'm not also like a crazy artist that's like, it has to be my way, or,
Right.
Yeah.
But so, like, what I think is interesting, so, we're doing this episode in your home, so I've always thought, and I don't think I've ever actually asked you this question, maybe like the first time I came over here, but like, do you kind of like use this space as kind of your like test kitchen almost? Is like, you kind of be like, hey, like, what if we did this in here, and like just try it, maybe to kind of see what it looks like in a room?
Sometimes I would say there's what I call the archives. So there's like, the basement has a lot of stuff.
Discarded.
Yeah. And
or like for
sometimes
future use, maybe.
Yeah, sometimes you swap it out, but I'm into like going to estate sales and treasure hunting, so I'm always collecting.
Yeah, no, I like that. And so it really goes down to like, even just like the stuff on the shelves, and not just like furniture and all that kind of stuff, obviously, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Art. Right now I have a job where doing tons of art, so like helping clients pick art is super fun, and very personal. Yeah,
definitely. And then so like, you must be like, like, where do you find those things? Like, do you go to like art galleries? Do you go to like local artists? Like, how does that stuff work?
I try and keep it local.
Yeah.
I think it's really nice to support local businesses, and the art community. I mean, especially in the past 2 years, that's obviously been in an area where people have struggled. But yeah, I mean, to be able to, people want to see stuff in person also before they spend on it. So yeah.
Do you ever like, when you're working with people, and like you said, people that have like a very specific vision, and I know it's like their thing, but if you're just like, this is going to look terrible, do you like tell them like, this isn't going to look good? Yeah,
so I've been told I have no poker face, but guilty. But yeah, I mean, you try and gently be like, I'm not sure about that, or that's not what I would go with.
Yeah, right.
But if they really want that, fine.
Exactly.
And you know what? Not every job gets photographed. So if you're happy, I did my job. That's it.
Yeah. So on the Instagram page, Alexandria Como Design, I think, is the Instagram page.
That is the Instagram page.
Right. That's good recall right there. I was doing my research. So the ones that, those aren't necessarily going to be on that particular page.
No.
All right. So we're going to take our first break of this episode. So we're going to do a quick kind of going through in the second segment. We're going to do a quick, like, what it would be like working with Allie. You know what I mean? So for everybody listening, we are here in Morristown, New Jersey, with Allie Como of Alexandria Como Design. I'm Mike Ham. This is the Greetings from the Garden State podcast. We'll be right back. It is time for Today in New Jersey History. Albert Einstein was born on March 14th, 1879 in Germany. His work as a theoretic physicist influenced the philosophy of science, and his very name is synonymous with genius. Being Jewish, he came to the United States as Hitler's influence grew in Germany and settled in Princeton, New Jersey, affiliating himself until his death in 1955 with the Institute for Advanced Study. And that is Today in New Jersey History. All right, we're back. This is the Greetings from the Garden State podcast. I'm Mike Ham. We're here in Morristown, New Jersey with Ali Como of Alexandria Como Design. I can say that really fast now. So in the first segment, we kind of learned a little bit about your background, what got you into design, the types of stuff that you work on, all that kind of stuff. But for the people listening, we're going to do like our experience segment now. So maybe like what it would be like working with Ali. Obviously amazing. I mean, clearly. Duh. So we could probably just wrap up this segment really quick. But maybe take us through like some initial steps. Like maybe how do they find you? Sure. And then like what are some of the first things that you do when you start working with a new client?
Yeah. Okay. So I don't advertise. All my work is referral based only. So builders, architects, past clients. Super lucky that that's been the case so far.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, someone will reach out, or sometimes the builder kind of sets it up, and whether it's just me and the client or the whole team. And it depends. If it's new construction, I'm probably chatting with the architect and kind of involved from the ground up, or if it's just like redecorating a living room or renovating a kitchen, then, you know, I'll probably be dealing with the client directly from the beginning. And, you know, we have an initial meeting and kind of a rundown of what they're looking to do. And I think that's also when they test out, you know, if they like your personality. And
sure. So I'm sure that's really important too,
huge,
right?
Yeah.
Like, you know, how, like, I mean, generally, sorry to cut you off because I'm sure like you had a whole thing in plan, but it's my show. Like generally, I mean, I'm sure it depends on the job, but like, you know, a couple months you'll be working with this person generally?
Some clients, it's years. Okay. I mean, for like a new construction project.
Oh, right. Yeah. It would be a
it's
while.
Years. And it's crazy because when a job like that's over, like a big job, you feel like you're like breaking up with them. Like,
like you know, you've been your friend.
Yeah. Like, I've been talking to you like almost every day for 2 years.
Yeah.
Like that's, yeah. But yeah. And then at that point, if they want to move forward, you know, I take a retainer deposit, whatever the situation's going to be. But it's very a la carte. Like,
yeah.
Every job is different and personalities are different. Some people need a lot of hand holding and want a lot of contact.
Yeah.
And other people are just, you know, happy to let you do your thing. And,
sure. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Is there a reason you don't really advertise?
I mean, low-key flex, I don't have to.
That's what we said before. It was amazing. I mean, that was perfect. So I think that's really interesting too. Like, you know, kind of the first steps working with a client, and then like you mentioned in the first segment, like, you know, when you have those initial conversations with people, you kind of like you gave us the sociological thing about, you know, seeing what they wear, kind of like knowing what kind of colors they like, all that kind of stuff. When you're like putting these, I guess, plans together, are you like putting it on paper? Is it like a computer program, or is it just in your brain and you're just like, boom, there it is. We're gonna put a couch over there. We're gonna put a bowl over there.
It.
Exactly. Yeah.
No. I do AutoCAD for kitchen design, and then if I'm working with an architect on either an addition or a new construction, you know, that's good because your drawings can interface.
Sure.
I have some experience with Revit, but AutoCAD's
I don't know what any of those are, so I'm sure they're programs.
They are, yeah.
Okay. Yeah, so it's like more like a visual type thing. Yeah.
Otherwise, if it's just kind of decorating stuff, you know, that's going to be just samples of fabrics and clients really want to feel and see and, you know. Yeah. So,
like, this just came into my head, too, because I know what kind of table you have in the kitchen, like that old butcher table.
Oh, yeah.
Which I think is, like, so badass.
My kitchen island is a butcher block.
Yeah. I love that. Mm-hmm. But, like, have you ever, like, been searching for stuff? You said you like estate sales and different things like that. And you're like, this is really cool for a client, but, like, I want it. Like,
yes.
I'm gonna... Yeah, right?
Like, a few days ago, I was at the gallery picking art for a client and, like, whoops, bought 2 paintings. Yeah.
Rats.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But because I would imagine like you get to see like a lot of cool stuff, and like who doesn't like going into places like that
Totally.
and finding cool things
Yeah.
to put in their own home.
It's a treasure hunt.
Exactly.
For sure.
Yeah.
It's harder to buy stuff like that for clients just because you don't know. You don't know if they're going to like it.
Yeah. Right.
And anything like a big commitment like that, you're not just going to go out on a limb and buy it.
Yeah.
But
Is that why like the basement is filled with so many things?
we may just need a bigger house.
Yeah. Maybe.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, there's a little collecting, but I get tired of stuff too, and
Of course. Yeah.
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 So
Yeah. All right.
Yeah,
everybody does.
Trends
you gotta
change.
You gotta keep it fresh.
Yeah,
can't
you
get
got to keep
stale.
yourself inspired.
Right, you got to keep moving.
That's
It's
right.
like a shark. You got to keep swimming, or else you die. So I guess one of the other things, and we've done this in a couple other episodes, and kind of like talking about challenges that have faced like your particular industry over the last couple of years, and they're continuing, I would imagine. So maybe like what are some things that you're experiencing that are just kind of making your job harder right now?
Yeah, so there's still a lot of delays with shipping and lead times. So like custom furniture sofas are 17 weeks right now. So, and that kind of started even way back when they had the fires in Texas.
Okay.
The foam factories burned down.
Oh.
Like,
Yeah.
how bizarre. But
Right.
yeah, so we're still dealing with a lot of that. I know construction materials are still, there's still shortages, and they're marked up. Everything's more expensive,
Sure.
and so
Yeah. And that I would imagine that would like create maybe like a more client interaction to kind of be like, hey, I'm not doing my job. It's just more like things are happening beyond my control. Yeah.
I have to say, I feel like all my clients have been super understanding of that.
Sure.
Because
everybody knows about it. It's
Exactly.
affecting everything, not just that.
That's right.
Yeah.
And you try and manage expectations, but sometimes you order something and they're telling you like a few weeks.
Yeah.
And then in a few
not.
weeks it's like, oh, actually, yeah. So containers are getting held up at the ports.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's all kinds of stuff.
Right.
Yeah.
And then, so one of the other questions that I had too, and I don't think we went over this, so this is going to be like a surprise question. But so I think one of the things that would be interesting kind of too is like 8 years ago you went out on your own. And then like, was there a certain point?
We might be coming up on 9 years, but
Okay.
I don't want to age myself.
Well, that's fine. But so coming up on 8 or 9 years.
Yeah.
Was there like a moment where you saw things like finally, like maybe not finally, but clicking? You'd be like, wow, like I'm good. Like I got my client base. Like was there a moment that you had that was like that? Like I'm crushing it right now.
It's funny. Like I feel like when you're crushing it, like when a room gets delivered and it looks amazing and the client's super happy, that's like such a good feeling. Like,
Sure, yeah.
It looks good. You're really proud of your work and they're super happy. Like there's nothing better. But, no, I mean, when you're crushing it and you're super busy, you're usually also super stressed. So
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like the
necessary evil.
double-edged sword.
Yeah,
or whatever.
for sure.
Yeah. Necessary
Yeah.
evil is whatever the
Yeah.
saying is. And then like maybe looking into the future, do you have like goals and ambitions for the future of your business, or is it just kind of like we're gonna do what we do and we're just gonna keep getting clients and doing jobs?
Yeah, I mean, I've flipped some houses, a little side hustle.
Okay.
I really love doing that. Obviously, the market, since it's blown up, it's not really quite feasible right now. But I would like to do more of that in the future. And that's kind of easy because there is no client.
Right.
So
You are the client.
yeah.
Yeah.
No,
I guess.
but every new client's a different experience. Like you're dealing with different personalities and tastes. So
Yeah.
it's interesting. It's always.
I would imagine that is really interesting. And I didn't even think about that part too, because like, you're dealing with so many different people that you need to be able to be like a chameleon, like adapt to like maybe different personalities and be able to talk to a lot of different people. I mean, that's like what this is.
For sure.
You know how many different people I've had on this show? Or the other show too? Like so many different backgrounds and experiences and lifestyles and whatever.
Right.
And you need to be able to like connect with those people and find some common ground so that you can make some magic happen.
For sure.
Yeah. Amazing.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So we are going to take our second and last break of this episode. So this is the Greetings from the Garden State podcast. I'm Mike Ham. We're here in Morristown, New Jersey with Ali Como of Alexandria Como Design. We'll be right back. It is time for New Jersey Fun Fact of the Day. Did you know that Atlantic City, New Jersey is home to the world's longest boardwalk? And that is your New Jersey fun fact of the day. All right, we're back for our last segment of the Greetings from the Garden State podcast. I'm Mike Ham. We're here in Morristown, New Jersey with Ale Como of Alexandria Como Design. So we've done a lot of stuff over the course of this episode. Your background, what it's like to work with you, obviously amazing. And then, maybe some stuff that you've been dealing with and clients have been dealing with and other people that you work with, over the last couple of years. But one of the things that we always like to do for these episodes at the end is to kind of tie it back in some capacity to the community, because it's a New Jersey-based podcast, and we just love talking about everything that there is to know about New Jersey. So we're friends beyond just you coming on this show, and so I have talked to you before. So we both live here in Morristown. So you've lived here for 5 years?
Yep, 5 years, yeah.
So talk to me about what drew you to Morristown and maybe some things that you like about Morristown.
Sure. So I grew up in Chatham, just around the corner. Morristown's great, though. I feel like, I went to college in the city, but I'm definitely more of a country girl.
Sure.
So it's kind of the perfect combination.
Yeah.
Walking into town, all the restaurants, great social scene, but there's still trees and grass.
Yeah. Right. It's it's got this sort of a city, but just it's like a suburban, urban type of deal. That's what I like.
Yeah.
It's like a little oasis. Like you said, you live walking distance. I live walking distance to all the cool stuff that's down there. And it's like how many other places can you just walk down, get a baller meal someplace, or have a couple drinks and then go home, and then you're just again it's a 5-minute walk and then you're just in peace and quiet.
Totally.
Yeah.
It's ideal.
It's amazing.
Yeah.
And then so that's awesome. So and moving further into the community side of it, so what are some ways that you've kind of involved yourself in the community?
Yeah, so I feel like certainly pre-COVID, we were all more involved in a lot of things, but I don't know, just where you eat and seeing the same people all the time, and then as you meet people and being a small business owner, you really connect with other businesses in town over that.
Yeah.
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 Yeah. So connecting with small businesses, in what capacity? Going out to eat there, people that you actually work with?
So going out to eat there, supporting small businesses, but also, when you connect with other business owners, that's kind of a wonderful thing too.
Sure.
And
So, Allie, digging deeper into the Morristown community and all that kind of stuff, and you had mentioned, collaborating, or maybe not even collaborating, but connecting with local business owners and all that kind of stuff. Do you have a favorite spot around town that you just whether it's a restaurant or a bar or whatever, that you just love going there and getting brunch or dinner or wherever?
Yeah, so I love South and Pine.
Okay. Former guest, actually.
Yeah. Leah's also a friend.
Awesome.
Yeah, great food, killer food. I don't know. I feel like there's so much history in this area. I love Jockey Hollow.
Yep.
That's an amazing building. Yeah.
Yeah, those are two great spots, and even just where we are, you start driving up and down the street, and it's you see all these historic markers, this was someone's house, or this is where George Washington set up his camp.
Totally.
And it's just what? Isn't
even
that
my
wild?
own house is was moved from 2 blocks away, and I have this crazy antique.
The whole house was moved?
The whole house was moved.
Oh, I didn't know that.
I have this antique map, and my house is on the map.
Oh, really?
From 1876.
Oh, I think I saw that.
Yeah.
The last time I was here.
Yeah,
That's really cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's just crazy to think, my apartment building was not here that long. But it's just even just around the corner from me is that George Washington statue and his headquarters across the street. And it's just cool because not only does it have all this, new restaurants and different places to go and try and whatever, but it's just so cool to think that how much stuff has happened just in this one little town in New Jersey. It's amazing.
It is amazing.
Yeah.
What these buildings have seen, and
right. Literally the Revolutionary War.
Yes.
Soldiers were here.
Yeah.
They were just chilling, camping out. Maybe not chilling, but
in the winter they were chilling.
Well, they were. That's a good joke.
That was such a bad joke.
That's a pro guest joke. But that
was my best dad joke.
But so maybe also I think is important to note with this community stuff, the idea that your business is literally built upon networking and community. whether it's like your clients
Yeah.
and getting those referrals like we were talking about, or other businesses like you mentioned, builders and architects that you work with that like, you guys are collaborating on different projects and all that kind of stuff. So maybe talk to me a little bit about like the importance of that, obviously.
Yeah, I mean, I think growing up in the area definitely helps, but yeah, I mean, you want to do a good job always, every time.
Sure.
And so surrounding yourself with people who you work well with and that are not going to let you down, that's kind of like the team. So to work with these people regularly and you're feeding each other. So
Sure.
it's wonderful.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because I mean, I would imagine like, that might be even more important than like what fabric you pick, right?
For sure.
To a certain degree.
Yeah.
Because it's like you could refer a builder, and if they suck, then it's like a reflection on you.
Yes.
You know what I mean? And vice versa. Like
Yes.
if you come in and you're just like, we're going to paint everything lime green and put like, neon fluffy pillows like everywhere, people will be like, who the hell is this? Like, why'd you refer me
get
to
out of
her?
here.
Exactly. But yeah, so I think that like that's always interesting to me because it's like that's part of the community. So we do a lot talking about like, if you're gonna volunteer someplace or whatever, and like obviously that's important, but like still, what the community that's important to different businesses is different business to business, and this is obviously a community
Yes.
that's very important for everything that you do, which I think is really cool.
Yeah, and like I said, even just like using local art galleries and things like that, it's just nice to stay local and support.
Yeah.
Yeah.
100%. Yeah, I love that. All right, so maybe like if people are interested in maybe learning more about you, kind of learning more about like what you do, and maybe if they did want to work with you in some capacity or refer you to some place, because obviously referrals are very key to like whatever it is that you're doing. So maybe where can they go to learn more?
So my website is alexandriacomodesign.com, or my Instagram is also Alexandria Como Design.
Yeah, we plugged that earlier and we're plugging it again.
Yeah.
So, and like, you did say that you don't market yourself, but here you are on my podcast marketing yourself.
Well, I just wanted to chat with you today. That's,
Well, I mean, who doesn't, honestly? I get like Instagram messages all the time, like, could I come on? But I got to save them for the good guests.
Right.
Not that anyone we haven't had on so far is not a good guest, but
You have to be discerning about who you're letting slide into your DMs.
right, yeah, because I mean, it just like happens all the time. It's like, give me some space. But
It's hard to be popular.
yeah, but did you have a good time on your first podcast episode ever?
I did. I was a little nervous, but I feel like
Yeah,
it wasn't
I think
so
you did.
bad.
No, it's
Yeah.
not bad. Like I told you,
Yeah.
it's not going to be bad.
I know.
Yeah.
It's great.
Right, but yeah, it's just like the getting in there and actually doing it.
Yeah.
I think it's like cause sometimes it's like hard to like talk about what you do because you do it every day.
Weird to talk about yourself,
and
for
then just
sure.
be like introspective, I guess, or whatever, and then like look at it from afar,
Right.
and then be like, oh, this is what I do, and this is what the process is, and
Yeah.
all that kind of stuff. So I
Yeah.
think it was cool, and I really appreciate you coming on and sharing, and just been cool because you are a friend of mine to kind of see you from like a totally different perspective because this is the first time that I've really
Likewise,
ever
the whole
dug down.
podcast thing.
Yeah, right, exactly.
Yeah.
This is the first time we ever like dug down into the stuff that
Right.
that we do.
Right.
And like you've seen me like on Instagram or whatever, but never like in action in person.
Never seen you in action.
It's a sight to behold. So AlexandriaComoDesign.com is the website. At Alexandria Como Design is the Instagram handle. GreetingsFromTheGardenState.com is the website for the show. GreetingsFromTheGardenState@gmail.com is the email address for the show. If for some reason you want to reach out to me to get connected to Allie, happy to make that intro. Referrals, again. Allie, again, thank you so much for coming on with us today. This was great.
Thank you so much for having me.
Of course, yeah. And thank you for welcoming me into your home. Reese, was hanging out, but he's gone now, so I thought he was gonna be like more like in our business.
No, the dog got a busy stick, so she was
busy stick.
Yeah.
And amazing. So everybody else, thank you for listening, and we'll catch you next time.